Wait.
You like this one?
I do. Yeah.
I think I do good. I'm going mental.
How are you? What is new in the wonderful world of Claire?
What have I been doing? I was busy for a while with shoots, and now it's slowed down again, and just busy trying to get that studio ready.
Nice.
What about you? How are you feeling?
Feeling better.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm feeling much better.
Good.
Ooh, apparently I can change the colors on
I
here.
saw that. You can be black and white, moody, or whatever you want to be.
Ooh, I think that's new. Either that or I just totally missed it the last couple of months. I don't know, it just showed up.
Control red?
I don't know.
No.
But I like it.
Black and white again.
I like better in black and white. I was meant to live in an older time frame.
Where's everyone else?
I don't know. I think because I made it like an actual hangout, they don't know how to get on here. I'm very bright. I'm going to sit and just play with this.
Was I not supposed to jump in here? I just saw it pop up and I was like, oh, awesome to get in.
No, it's good. I thought everybody else was going to jump in too, but apparently not. I'm going to go post it in the other groups too. Don't just watch, come be part. Stupid.
My monitor is now blowing up with posts by Jess.
Oh, were you watching Agnes, her critique just now?
Yeah. I watched it, and then and I was chatting with people, but I have two monitors, so I have like one group over here, which is you over there, and then I have my other monitor, which is showing like you post the link to this.
We advertised you the entire time. You couldn't have bought ad space better, because apparently you were the last person to text something to her. So if you watch, because she's on her Google screen, the entire time at the top it's going, John, 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 like every other second.
I did?
Yeah.
For me?
Yeah, because
I have no idea.
You must have just typed something in the chat and it was the most recent thing. So her thing was fluctuating between like Google Hangout and like John Kaminsky.
Good. Good. Now I feel like I got some extra credit here.
Yeah, so it was like free publicity all day. I meant to say something to her and then I forgot about it, but it was funny. Because I just kept looking at it going,
can you take that off, please?
Yeah, it was like go in and see whatever he wrote instead of paying attention to us. He loses points. I think 2. Maybe 3 if the 2 has an extra O.
I watched Ray's critique tonight too for part of it. I missed the first half.
I'm hearing voices. Is anybody else hearing that? I'm always afraid to ask that in case nobody else is.
It's not just you.
Okay. I'm hearing voices. Well, that's not good.
I might be coming from here. Yeah, I don't think we'd ought to know someone on our hookup as well.
Oh. All right, so you guys have me for half an hour to an hour. How's it going? What do you want to talk about?
You know what I always want to talk about.
How luscious your cleavage looks tonight? Yes,
not much tonight. I don't know why.
It's never too much, ever.
It's the stripes going that way. That's why I was sitting like that. I was like,
Mr. Bryce.
That's not a good top to put on for this.
No, I like it. It's good. Leave it. Own it. Trust me, they're appreciating it too. They're just
John's like, oh god.
Subtlety, that's all we do here.
I've seen yours plenty of times.
You don't see my cleavage because I'm usually topless.
I'm gonna sit with this.
It's like you're preparing for one of Jess's critiques. Like, I just want to hug the pillow. I don't hug the pillow.
How are you feeling after your level 4 critique? You ready for level 9? Yes. Oh, good lord. I'm so gonna be the first master fired from the Arcanum.
Probably.
I don't think so. I think that your approach is way better than. I don't know how the others do it because I was only in one other one, but the direct approach head on is like so much better than just kind of like, oh well, blah blah blah. And so,
Well, you know, the thing is that it's really interesting because as the masters, we're in a lot of each other's critiques. Like, people started getting really concerned when they saw that there were like 46 people, but half of the people in the Ignis group they're all masters and other people with the Arcanum just kind of sitting in. So we do the same thing in a bunch of other ones. And I can tell you right now, like, the same way that I lost 5 or 6 people out of Natalie's cohort when she left because I wasn't her, and it was such a substantial difference in energy and the way that I approach things that they were like, oh, no, this is not going to work for me. So they actually ended up going over, and a lot of them got picked up by Robin because she's a little bit more low-key and along that line. So I think everybody finds their people, which is really cool.
You say that again? You broke up a little bit, and you said like you were like that, and then it was like blah 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 blah, and I couldn't hear what you said. Just the very last part you said about with Natalie's.
Oh, they didn't like me, so half of them left. But it's not like a personal thing. It's not anything like that. It's just people learn with different styles, and the nice thing about the masters kind of inviting the students and then the students accepting is that we kind of get to custom tailor it specifically to our people. So there are plenty of people in other cohorts that would just be miserable here and be like, you would not believe what a freaking tool she is. She's not even a good one. She's like a dull soul. Like.
My first introduction to you was actually watching, I think there's a 2.5-hour video in the Grand Library, and I'm thinking, wow, this is going on and on. And I watched the whole thing, and that's the thing, because normally I actually click through things. I'm terrible for that. I skip through everything because if it's not interesting, keep moving along. But I watched the whole thing, and I didn't actually realize until after I'd accepted that you were the same person.
Okay. You're like, oh no, what did I do?
Where is that video?
I hope these hangouts are not going to be as long as that.
Right.
Yeah, it will be.
Every critique you get, Ray, will be 2.5 hours long from now on. After we're level 4.
Well, I've been hanging out for them because I kind of had bad timing. I was really hanging out to get it all done and move on, but it's just the way everything happened.
The level 4 critiques were only an hour. The level 9 critiques I feel are way more important, so we're going to make them 9 hours. From now on, they're going to correspond to the number level they are. That's how long they are. Clear your weekend.
Do we get bathroom breaks?
Nope.
Only if I really like you.
I'll just wear a diaper.
Yeah. You should have gone before we left.
My husband can catheterize me. I'll be all right.
Yeah, I just figure I'll get like a big Gatorade bottle and I'll just hold it down there.
No, I'll get that sheepy thing. Jess probably knows what that is. She's just been in hospital recently.
Yeah. It was almost that, Jess, that face was almost the face that you made when you like choked when we were doing our critique. You like couldn't catch up to anything. You were like, and then I watched it back and I was like, oh my god, you totally turned it off. You put it on me while you were like dying, and I was trying not to laugh at it. And I was like, oh, let me talk, but I can't really talk because I'm looking at you and you're like dying. So.
Well, I have aside from like the surgery thing, I have Hashimoto's, which is like a thyroid immune disorder. So I have a lot of problems with my throat. So I actually, now that I'm like speaking, especially when I'm on stage, like I have to take like not like speech classes, but like projection classes to not upset my throat because it'll just like quit. It's like, fuck this, we're not doing it anymore, and it just closes up. So I was.
I don't know how you do all this shit, because this is still, you're not on stage, but you're still talking all the time. So I lecture to students all the time, and when I do, you know, if I don't watch myself by like day 3 or 4 in a week, I'm like spent. My voice is spent, and it's like I can tell it's just like going, you know, down to nothing. And I don't have any problems. I just project too much, and so I don't know how you do it. It's awesome. Thank you.
It's a trade-off. When we do the retreats that are 4 days here, I always lose my voice for 3 to 4 days after every single time. My husband loves it. He always takes off those days. That's when he wants to be home, when he knows I can't talk. And he's the most wonderful asshole you'll ever meet, because he'll pick on me, and when he knows that I can't say anything, he'll go, "What? I didn't hear you. What was that?" All day. Hey, can you read this out loud for me? Like, just to be obnoxious.
Jess, do you think you're going to teach her like a full creative life workshop anytime soon?
You know what? Nope.
No.
They do not like me over there.
Because you swear too much.
I do swear too much, and I'm too opinionated.
Yeah, you're not a happy, shiny person enough for them.
And it's not. I'm so happy. I'm happy
No,
about
you're not a shiny person. They like shiny people.
They do, and I'm not willing to, because I did actually teach like a Creative Live Spotlight segment, and that pretty much sealed it for me, because I have a very hard time keeping my mouth shut when I should. And we'll have the rest of this conversation when it's not recorded.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But I'll say this, because I watch Creative Live a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, and I think it's great, and I understand why they would not have somebody like you on there. Like, it's not an offensive thing,
Wow,
but I understand.
I'll tell you how many points you lost later.
No, I don't mean it in a bad way. Like, I understand it. Like, they're very like fluffy, and everything is like good, and everybody's having a good time. It's the exact reason like I wouldn't want to do one of these things with somebody like Stu Bryce or somebody that teaches in that thing, because I want someone that's direct and opinionated and gives it to you.
I think she's pretty direct and opinionated, though.
When you pay two... Say that again, Claire?
I think that Sue Bryce is pretty opinionated and direct.
They're like Sue.
I do like Sue. I can't help but like her. Come on.
You know what? I really liked her when she came out. I had the Sue bug just as bad as everyone else did too. But I have a very difficult time with people that don't have anything new to say. You know, and I think it's not that she's not brilliant, because she absolutely is, but Creative Live latched onto her so hard because she outsold every other class. She probably outsold every other class combined together, because she was so opinionated while still being polite and shiny. And, you know, her work is gorgeous, and she has a good business head on her shoulders. So she just came in and took it by storm, and they capitalized on that. But I think because they capitalized on it so much, that Creative Live for a couple of months became the Sue Bryce show. And then she got really involved with them, and then she started showing up on all the other teachers' classes too, and everything was this collaboration with Sue. And then she got 28 days with Sue that I think I just got bored with it. And it wasn't that it wasn't good, it was just like, all right, I got it. Like, you know, like there's only so much content people can produce on demand. Like, it's really difficult to come up with, you know, a 2-hour class on the stage of WPPI, let alone a 4-day class, let alone a 28-day class, let alone teaching with so many people, that I think, like, it's one of those things that part of what people covet are the things that they can't have. So if you're just giving them and shoving it down their throats, eventually they lose the taste for it, because it's not a delicacy anymore. Which I think that kind of happened a little bit, but I also think that Sue is a very good teacher. I don't think she would work well as a mentor, and I think in comparison that I work really well as a mentor, and I might not be as good of a teacher as I like to think that I am. So it's just they're just different platforms. Like people learn different ways. There are some people that will go that are creative live junkies that will come jump in here and try it out and go, no, I don't like it, because they like tuning into the class and chatting with each other, and it's just a different means of conveyance. And there are some people that really love like Linda and Kelby training and that kind of dynamic that aren't as fond of creative live and would absolutely hate this. So I like that there's all the different dynamics, because it allows people to learn in the way that they learn. So if they ever offer it to me, I would love to teach a creative live class, and I would kill it. And I'm willing to take the bet that I could outsell Sue. That would be my goal, because I think she's still.
I love that. I love that goal. I mean, I love it. I think that that's amazing. To me, Creative Live is like a great platform. I buy like a ton of stuff. Not a ton. I mean, I buy enough off of there that I'm like, okay, I have this like archive of like videos I'm going to watch for a long time, but I still don't feel like I get as much value as I would get out of it, like a month of this. I mean, I don't get it. There's so much more people with, not just you, but like the other apprentices that you can talk to, and everybody's got like their own level of expertise that they can share with you. So Sue's good, and I love her, and I do like watching her stuff.
On Creative Life, what other courses have you bought?
I bought a few. I couldn't even tell you what they all are, but if I thought about the different, I bought one which was on workflow and with Lightroom. So it was like, I talked about this earlier today. I was with somebody. So it was about workflow. So like I learned to like expedite my process of like making things happen faster and exporting. But I bought a bunch of other stuff with it, and then I didn't even watch it yet. It's still sitting in the archive. So they don't care that I already bought it, because I bought it, and I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it gets to be a conflict of interest in terms of like, you know, what's their goal? Is their goal to teach people, or is their goal to make money? And as with most businesses, their goal is to make money.
Your cat is judging you for not watching your Creative Live.
I'm going to bring my Great Dane into the picture in a minute to show up your cat.
Is she? Oh, she is here. Hi.
Yeah.
I didn't even know she was here.
Yeah, they're just they're different learning platforms. You know, like you can still tune in live, but it's not the same because it's not one-on-one interaction. And even if they, you know, keep the questions in queue and they happen to pick yours, like there's still that disconnect, that fourth wall barrier that isn't here for this. So I really like that. I'm really curious to see how that works in larger scales, because like I'm running 2 cohorts, but Robin, she has 1 cohort, but I think she's up to like 35 apprentices in that cohort, which would basically be if I took you 2 and smashed you all together into one. So I would think that, and she would like to do that. Like she would like to run 1 cohort that she has like 50 or 60 people in. I think that would be chaos. But I totally think that given the time, after, you know, getting used to it and figuring out the flow, I totally think that I could run 3 or 4 separate cohorts cohesively, but I couldn't have 100 people in one room. It would just be a cacophony of awesome and awful all at the same time. So, you know, that's part of the benefit, is that we can kind of build it the way we want, but it's got to be enough people that you guys get to feed off each other, but still small enough that we can stay intimate. And a lot of that just depends on how much time and energy we want to put into it. Because I got to tell you, like, the best and worst thing about me as a master, as told by the other masters, is how much time I spend with you. I spend more than double the time in my cohort with you guys and online and in chats and in critiques and everything than all of the others. Like, but I don't mind. I love it.
Yeah, so Jess, that's a good point. Like as an educator, like we do online education and all the same stuff, and very different than this, but the same stuff. And it's like, well, you know, there's a level to where you have to be like, I'm not going to spend all my time doing that shit because it's going to kill me. And they yell at you about spending all this time with us, but we love that. We love that you're like dedicating the time to us. So at some point, when does it become about like, all right, I'm paying my $79 a month or 29, whatever it is for that person? When does it become about like, okay, I have a system that I have to go in place, and it becomes very formulated and less organic like it is right now with this initial people?
It won't be for me.
Yeah, no, but you're not. I agree. I think that it will never be for you. But
Everybody else kind of has their system already. Like, it didn't take them long, especially like people like Robin and Ron, because they ran mentorship programs on Google Plus. Like, this was just like a duck to water for them. They just took everything they were doing and just scaled it down to fit, you know, the Arcanum kind of style. But there are some masters that are very specific. Like, they have their critique hours every other Friday from 4 until 8 o'clock their time, and whoever signs up is. And, you know, a lot of them do formal or informal hangouts like this, but they're regimented, and I get invites like weeks in advance to them. So, you know, they're every other Tuesday at 6 p.m., you know, Pacific Standard Time kind of thing. So a lot of them do very, very regimented scheduling, and they check in and, you know, like, because we talk to each other about what's working, and not a lot of them will go, oh, I check in on Tuesdays and Thursdays for about 25 minutes, level up who needs to be leveled up, and so they know even if they complete level 8 that they're not getting leveled up until Tuesday. You know, so it just depends, and as long as the expectations are set and they know that's what it is and that's how it's been since they go in, then that's how it is. You know,
can I make a recommendation?
Yeah.
I think Tom should be put in one of those groups.
Oh, Tom.
I am really excited. I really want to make Tom a master just so I can sit in his group and watch how he does things. It's going to be like the most fun science experiment I've ever been part of. And then I'm just going to go in and just fuck with the system and make him mad until he keeps me.
Tom is silenced. Tom, take your phone off.
No, he can't speak right now because he has to get his anger under control. I can see the Hulkness coming out at the idea of me messing with this system.
I like Tom's passive-aggressive hints at doing work. Like, look, I've made this really easy for you, plus Claire. Why don't you go and get it done? And I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks, Tom.
You know what, though?
Go ahead.
I tease him about it, but at the same time, like, I'm very envious of how that was when I was out, because I made him, you know, head of the group for a minute while I was recovering from surgery, and was like, that's it, Tom's in charge, good luck, guys, and I'm out. And there was like applause and dread in equal measure, depending on which apprentice it was, because some of them were like, yes, finally, we're going to have some order in all the chaos, and the others were like, oh God, what did you just do? And he did exactly what I knew he would do to the nth degree. Like, he went in, he posted all of the videos, everything got organized, he did all my work for the week, and he's not even paid to do it. Like, but, you know, part of the reason that I was doing that is because we're supposed to be looking during the foundation levels for the potential masters, so that when you guys cross the threshold into 10, if we think you have what it takes, we can start writing letters of recommendation and going, you should be looking at these people to take on their own cohorts, because after I'm done with you guys, they want to move me up to a higher sphere, which was always the goal. The problem was that they came to us and they said, hey, we'd like you teaching sphere 3 or sphere 5, but there's nobody there. So I would just be sitting there having hangouts, talking to myself, and that's like, those would be my video contributions to like the library, because I wouldn't know what else to do. Just sitting here by myself with my non-existent cohort guy, something cute right there.
You have nothing in your teeth, by the way.
Echo! Like, you know, there'd be nothing to do. So some of the masters that they picked did say, well, look, I'm really busy. I don't have the time to devote to this right now anyway. I can't be involved in the foundation levels. When you have people at level 4, give me a call. The rest of us were like, I'm so excited, I want to do this right now. So we took on intro level cohorts to get some people up there so that there's somebody to pick up at the higher levels for everybody else. So, but the really fun part of that is that we get to first turn around and grab the people that are awesome and make you guys the gatekeepers for the new people coming in, which I'm very excited about.
This has the potential of growing exponentially, though, when it does look that. If you're going to be making lots of new masters, and then all the people that I understand are waiting to join anyway, this could become a very large organisation very quickly.
That's exactly the idea.
Right.
That's exactly the idea. There are thousands of apprentices sitting waiting to get picked up in the antechamber right now at the entry.
So Ray, you brought up a good point. Like you said, exponential growth here. The potential is that like there's frustrations among people, even at the first entrance of this, and then all of a sudden you start bringing all these levels in and people, and it gets out of control. Like who controls it? This Trey like up there is like a puppet master going like, I'm gonna make everybody happy and do this, or is there like it gets pretty complicated when you start thinking about the potential for this group. I'm not frustrated. I love where this is going right now, but I can completely see where this could be to a point where it gets very out of control, and it's very difficult to keep up with. So.
Well, not necessarily, because everybody is their own house, So, and we've been talking about that because for the last month or two, like, Peter was getting all these emails to the Arcanum, and people were getting frustrated because he wasn't getting back to them right away. But there's I think 32 active masters right now, with between 10 and 20 people in each cohort. So he had all of these apprentices and masters and the people behind the scenes that are building the website and everything else all messaging him at once. And he was trying to keep up with it, but because they weren't getting a response in a timely manner, they were, getting frustrated. And so a lot of it's just learning as we go, and we go back and forth a lot. And I was talking to him. I was like, run it like the military, like, there's a chain of command.
Yes.
So the apprentices talk to their master, because their master should be able to answer and field at least 25 people. Ray and I did this. He wasn't getting a response, and I sat down and talked to him for an hour, and we worked it out. And Peter didn't even have to. And, when I talked to Peter, I was like, I talked to Ray. He's like, oh, my God, I got to get back to him. I was like, it's cool. I took care of it. He likes me better than you anyway. We're awesome now. And, but it takes so much off of his plate so he can deal with the important things. So, that's pretty much the idea behind it, is that everybody has a buddy system. And with the way that we're building the candidacy program, you guys will be very, very well trained by moi before you actually get your own cohort. And there are a lot of checks and balances. Like, in order for you guys to be masters, I have to write a letter of recommendation for you to the higher ups, and they have to accept you based on that letter of recommendation. And then based on that, you can start your training while you're still going through your training as an apprentice through the first sphere of levels 11 through 20. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into play, and the same way that you level up as an apprentice, you have to level up as a master through these 10 levels of mastery before we'll give you a cohort. And it ends at level 20 with you actually sitting down with a board review where you have to demonstrate everything that we need you to do as a master. So a lot of it, like, Tom grits his teeth back and forth, and a couple of the others too. Like, Darn's messaged me a few times about it, and rightfully so, because it's, hi Jenny! It's tough with the levels being codependent. Tom seems to be under the assumption that this is a me thing, but it's not. He's going to have to do this in his cohort too, because there's the leveling guide, and we as masters are given parameters of how many people should be commenting on each thing before they can level up. So this is actually part of the process, and it's teaching a couple of important lessons. So with the potential masters, if you guys are getting frustrated because you can't get 2 people to level up to your level in order to comment on your stuff, how are you going to control 20 people? Because it is really frustrating. You know, like I had to go down and tell a couple of our people to smack them in the face when they were hanging out at level 2, because it was like, it's been 3 weeks now. All you have to do is post a video. If this is the time frame it's taking you, by the time you graduate level 20, you're going to be 84 years old and it won't be useful to you. So.
Yeah, but Jess, it brings up a good point. Like, I mean, one thing I like about this whole system is that I know Tom's frustrated that it's not like moving as fast as it could be, but you're not also holding people back. I mean, you're talking about a per month system where you pay per month, and sorry, I get feedback. You pay per month, and you're actually pushing people to get like moving it through it quicker. I know there's going to be people that are going to they're not going to be able to finish in a week at level or whatever it is, but you're pushing people to get through it. So I look at it and go, holy crap, people are actually not trying to make money off of my monthly fee. They're actually trying to like encourage me to go forward and move on. So I love the system. I think it's great.
Well, it's a balance.
And Tom, you were helpful today too. So I don't mean to knock you, but in my comments, I don't mean to say like you're bad, but I think that for me it's working. The whole system's working.
No, but this is why we picked, you know, and especially me for the people that I personally selected. Like, you guys got picked by Natalie or by me. You got picked because we saw you as the potential to build the foundation of this office. You are the first ones. You are the pioneers. So the more feedback you're giving on what's working and, of course, what's not working, like your job is to critique us as the masters, because then when we hand over the cohorts to you and in our own cohort, this is how we improve and change it. And we can go, okay, Trey, it's great that you want this group mentality. Love the idea. Totally understand it. But we have the pack leaders that are at the front that are getting frustrated because they feel that they're anchored back by the people that are at the back. We have some people that are straggling and not moving along. And then we have the people that just drop off the face of the earth for a month or two. Claire. And
me?
Yeah. You were totally okay though. So see, like Claire did it perfectly well because she literally accepted and she was like, hey, so I'm gonna join.
Oh yeah, I was
for a month. Yeah. So like she came in, said hello, accepted, and then disappeared for a month and nobody saw her ever again. Until she came back, and then she was like, okay, and by the way, now that I'm back, I'm also at level 3, let's go. And she's just been rolling with it. You know, other people were like the first people to join, and they've been in the whole time, but they didn't, they just haven't been moving at the same pace. So it's a thing where I'm learning that people are going to have to be at the pace that they want to be at, but they still have a responsibility to the other people in the cohort. So if you want to take 6 months to level up to level 3, that's fine, but you still have to be contributing in a way that you're helping other people on their path that are going faster. You know, because that's how the business side works. Like, you have to be responsible for those around you.
So how do you boot people out when they're not contributing?
You know, and this is something that we talked about, because on the one hand, certain people are like, well, you know, it's a monthly fee. We get paid a commission based on our students' monthly fee as well. So as long as they're paying, who cares if they want to spend 8 months at level 2? But the problem is that decreases for me the level of experience that all the people that are pushing. So is that smart business? Maybe. But I'm not here for that. My job is to mentor you and help you on your path. So if they become dead weight, that's different than them working at their own pace, which I think is what Tom was getting at. And Tom, I'd actually like to give you the floor because I caught a little bit of your post, but then I jumped right into the critique with Agnes. So why don't can you like reword that for me?
Sure. I think that there's two kind of two going on with the Arcanum, and one is this idea of level. And if you look at for the Arcanum, that's something that's really heavily emphasized. The notion of kind of building as a group is something that is it's mentioned a little bit, but it's certainly not suggested in the Arcanum's message that it's like a primary focus. So there's right there a little bit of a disconnect if what you say for other cohorts is as equally true as it is for yours, that the marketing is not really reflecting the reality, so you're getting some mismanaged expectations from the beginning. But even if we're trying to mix those two approaches, I think that there are ways to do that, and what I was suggesting was separating the requirements for any given level into requirements and expectations. Requirements being the things that you have to do in order to progress to the next level, and expectations being the things you're just expected to do as a member of the cohort. So for instance, at level 7, I would suggest that the requirement be you post this photo that's an intimate portrait that can't involve nudity. You receive 3 people who create a story based on the content of your image. Then you post a reflection saying what you intended and how, based on the feedback, you could have improved your photo to be more clear in your message. That being the requirement, and the expectation being that everyone will provide at least 3 stories to other members. So that would solve half of the problem, in that it doesn't, like Brian right now, can't progress past level 7 because he has nothing upon which he can provide feedback until 3 more people participate in that level. So he is completely stuck. So by separating that expectation of him giving back from the requirements to a secondary sort of requirement, he would still be able to progress, and then the expectation would still be that he would be participating in level 7 to help the other members out. But then on the second half, which is of course per, as I understand it, the old rules, you could only participate in your exact level or below. I guess in the chat, you changed that to allow people to help above, which was the other part of the suggestion. I actually had suggested that people be able to fulfill expectations within their half sphere or below. So I actually thought that people who have yet to go through the critiques may not be the best people to help above those levels. I actually thought that there was a little bit of a conceptual divide there, but that's kind of splitting hairs at that point.
Okay, well that brings up a good point though, because which I'm totally in agreement. I think, and you guys have been, because I know I've seen you and a couple of the others come down from level 8 and 9 to comment on new level 1 submissions and help them level up. So I absolutely believe, and that's true in everything, if you're way beyond, you can always help everybody behind you and move up. That's just how it works. You know, a Major League Baseball player can definitely help someone learning how to play t-ball, and every level in between that. That's part of mastery. But at the same time, like Brian being stuck right now, if there's nobody else above that first half sphere, then nobody can come help him. So there's the problem there. The other thing is that with setting it as an expectation, you will, you know, your expectation is that you comment on 3 things. Well, if the other person needs 3 comments in order to advance, it doesn't matter, because until they get those 3 comments, until somebody else actually does the expectation, the other people can advance up the level anyway. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't trying to say this was a solution so much as a way to allay some of the problem, right, by spreading out the requirement from being quite so specifically within the level. Okay. This way we can at least distribute it so that there's a greater pool of people to whom you can help and to whom are able to help you. And like in Brian's case now, he's not going to be held up by other people who are taking their time at levels 5 and 6. So he'll be able to continue working, and then when people are ready, then he knows that he's expected to go back and help them. Even, you know, while Brian's the sort of guy who would already on his own. But it just codifies that, and it doesn't. It doesn't make all the problems go away, but it does at least spread it out a bit so that it's less critical where people are falling in their own progress.
Right, because I think part of the issue that you and Darn and a couple of the other head leaders, I don't know if Lars feels it or not, because he's so easygoing. I think he just rolls with it, so he doesn't really voice it as much. But I think part of the problem is that you guys get out the gate of the new levels, so you run with it, and then you are forced to stop. So it's just run ahead and stop and wait for everybody else to catch up and run. So I think it's not flowing for you guys because it's go, stop every level, just because you guys are the head of the pack. I think part of the issue that you're having with that, and this is a conversation that David and I were having about David's point of view, but part of the problem is that I think you guys are focusing a lot on the leveling up, and you're seeing the Arcanum as a teaching source, and it's not, it's a mentoring. The difference being that when you go to class and you learn something and there's teaching, it's goal-oriented. You learn the material, you take the test, you progress to the next grade. And it's this staircase thing. You go up the 12 grades of high school, and then you go up the 4 grades of college or university, and then you go up to higher learning for the next degree kind of thing, and it's very step up. The Arcanum and the levels are not meant to be a staircase where the levels are some kind of like goal of mastery. It's not meant to be goal-oriented as much as it is meant to be growth-oriented.
Right, but conversely, the different spheres and different levels are going to be best served for people with facing different challenges at their particular point on whatever path they happen to be on themselves. So someone who has come to photography and has played around and for about a year is in a very different place than someone like Lars, who's been doing it for 30 years and is now just trying to figure out his passion now for photography. So everyone is at different places, they have different challenges, and that's what the different levels, it would seem, serve to provide. When you're at different places, you're getting different levels of tasks that will address different problems. So for some of us, this time in the foundation sphere doesn't have a lot of benefit because we're sure where we want to go through this, and the challenges that we need addressed are not being met by these particular steps, these particular tasks that are being set before us.
What are the challenges that you need?
Like for me personally? I actually don't know on an artistic level.
Getting them. Washing the car is not washing the car, Danielson.
That is true. I've seen the Karate Kid, the first 3 anyway. I don't know about any of the next Karate Kid stuff. That's true, but it could also be that, well, the situation I'm in is I'm totally revamping my portfolio from scratch. Okay. So, I'm in the middle of a process right now of going through that. That has little to do with, I don't know, most of the tasks in Sphere 1.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So this is a really good point for the difference between goal-oriented and growth-oriented, because I think that you're very focused on the idea of leveling up under this thought process that if you get to higher levels that you're going to meet these specific challenges that are going to coincide with your path. But the problem is that everybody else that's on this bottom bar here, I don't think anybody else is doing that right now. So that's totally specific to you. What you do have in the Arcanum, even if the levels aren't necessarily leveling you up, is that you have access to, well, now between cohorts with convergence, you have access to 40 peers with very, very diverse skill sets and very different opinions based on who they are as artists and where they are in the world. And you also have access to me at any point in time. So even if it's not a level and we're not sitting down to critique, there's nothing that says that you can't post this and go, I'm completely redoing my website right now, which actually I think if you're doing that, that level 8 is pretty much exactly that.
No, I'm not reworking my portfolio in terms of choosing new images. I'm creating an entirely new brand of art. So
that's fine, but that still means that you can take time at level 8 and that all the images that you submit for level 8 can all be new images. There's nothing that says that you can't stay there.
That's true, but there's nothing that says I need to pay a bunch of money a month to sit here and work on a new portfolio. And Darn has made this point in chat before, and as much as I like everyone in this group, there are plenty of places where I can get collegial feedback and work with other artists that don't involve paying money.
Okay.
So if that's the benefit that's being sold, then I have to be honest, I don't see the value proposition in that. You know,
okay.
if the personalized mentorship makes sense, you know, especially as part of a group, and working with the group to make a lot of people better. But I say, as Darn has pointed out, I can chat for free.
Okay, perfect. You're absolutely right. So what is it specifically that you're looking for from the Arcanum?
Well, it's that little bit of personal touch from a respected mentor. It really is that.
I was told that I was not allowed to personally touch any of the apprentices.
Well, I think you might just have made some people very unhappy, but
we can make exceptions, Jess.
Okay, so personal touch. What does personal touch mean for you specifically?
Well, in a large sense, the critique levels are probably the most important on that.
Okay. So would it make sense? I understand that for you, I think specifically you're very focused on the goals of leveling up in order for you to feel like there's progress being made that validates the fact that you're investing. Am I understanding that correctly?
I think that's fair, yeah.
Okay, so let's just say hypothetically that I changed the levels and you were now going to be a star student. Like you know how in school like there's like, I don't know, well it's this way here, there's like level 1 and level 2 tracks depending on where their education is, and there's like honors and then there's special education if you're struggling. What if I was to set you aside and instead of you following the basic foundation levels everybody else is, your next 5 levels were doing 5 shoots that were eventually going to be your completely revamped portfolio, which is your personal thing, with the critiques still at level 9 and at level 14. Would you feel like that was validating your time here?
I think that it would certainly be more personal, although on referring to the system of the Arcanum, that really wouldn't be so easily workable to have a custom curriculum for everyone like that.
No,
but
well,
we
don't care about all these people. They're just here right now. It's about you, and they're all in your class. So just for you, because we're talking about what makes it worth it for you. Would that pretty much solve your issue, or your feeling of that you're not getting enough out of it for it to be worth the investment?
Well, I wouldn't say that I've said that I'm not feeling that there's enough value to be worth the investment. I'm saying that there are some questions as long term whether that would be true, and with the system as it is. But I mean, yeah, something like that would personally be more valuable to me than spending a lot of time on tasks that. Interesting, John. Spending a lot of time on tasks that aren't very beneficial to where I'm working.
So here's the thing. This is where, and this is totally my fault. I'm not doing a good job at communicating this for you. But here's what I'm seeing. I'm not trying to back you into a corner at all. I feel like you're choosing your words carefully because you think I'm trying to to catch you up, and I'm not. But what I'm hearing is I have this very specific goal that I'm working on, and I don't feel like the foundation levels are really suiting me as far as being specifically beneficial to my path, which is always difficult because when you have 20 people in, like you said, it's very hard to personalize 20 different levels for everybody that suit exactly the path that they're on. The foundation levels are just that. They're the trunk of the tree. Everybody's starting out, and then as we cross different spheres, the more spheres you cross, the more it's personalized. When you get into higher spheres, we don't take on 20. We take on 10, and then we take on 5. You know, we have a lot more one-on-one time because it's only a couple of you. So the same amount of time that I'm putting in these levels, I will be putting in sphere 3 and 4, but with only 4 of you. So you're all getting a lot more one-on-one intensity. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem is that you are stuck on this idea that the Arcanum advances in levels. So you would feel okay about that if the next 5 levels were developing these shoots to round out your portfolio, and each one of those was a level, so you could still see yourself moving forward and see progress in the Arcanum, thereby justifying the tuition that you're paying to be here, as opposed to spending months at level 8. But the amount of work you're doing is the exact same. The only thing that's changing is that I'm saying now that you're a level 14 instead of a level 8. So you're not spending 6 months on level 8, you're spending 6 months going from level 8 to level 14. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. So I'm just going to level you up in the group to level 14. You'll be leaps and bounds ahead of everyone. And that way you don't have to worry about the levels at all. You're just so far ahead of everybody. You're the star student. And it's because the levels, like, I totally believe everything the Arcanum stands for. That being said, in the real world, nobody fucking cares what level you're at in the Arcanum. It's not going to help you get hired. It's not big enough. It's not an accreditation like a school. I can make you a very pretty certificate that stands for nothing because it's just a piece of paper. I know the value of it, and you know the value of it because you experience, but it means nothing outside of here. So your time that you're spending here is about personal growth. It's not about the levels. The levels are just a guide to keep you moving, but you're so goal-oriented, and you have been Alpha Wolf. You've been leading the pack since you got here, which I think is one of the biggest things that are going to push your success in who you are, because you are that way. And I actually just put in your name because they were looking for somebody that was very organized and knew the library well. And I said, one of my students watched every single video, and they're like, well, we need somebody that could actually handle setting up all of these things and dealing with things in a very organized way. And I'm like, yeah, it's this guy. So, so if you get a call, you'll know why. Because those are all really good qualities to have. They're not qualities I have, but they're qualities that you have in spades. So I actually really, really admire that about you, which is why I'm always looking for feedback from you, because you hate half of what I do, which is really good because it helps me figure out the gauge between what's working and what's not and what needs improvement. Because the people that love that I'm chaotic and that there's lessons within the lessons and it's a little more abstract, they're not going to give me any good feedback. It's like the equivalent of going, that's a nice picture in critique. You know, it doesn't really help you with anything. So,
right, and you know, here's the point I was trying to make is not that there's necessarily a problem with all of these tasks. It's just that for people who are, I mean, even in this group, we have so many people at so many different places artistically, within their lives, in their businesses, and sort of the one-size-fits-all approach of these early foundations isn't going to be best serving them. So the ideal, really, is to get them to the point with the master that's able to give them that level of personal attention that they need for where they are. Now, for some people, that's very little because they're very much at the beginning, and for others, you know, they're going to need more because they're at a more delicate place. So I was just trying to put forth an idea that would alleviate some of that delay in getting people to where they could really best be helped. through some of these levels that can be smoothed a little bit, so that
Right.
while they are jumping through some of these hoops where they're not, well, they may or may not be getting a lot of benefit, they would still go through all of the process and then find the place where they best fit.
Mm-hmm. And
That
I'm totally with you on that. And I'm not arguing with you at all about that, because you're not alone in that. And this is a conversation we've had a couple of times with the people that are leading the group in levels, kind of getting stuck waiting for everybody else to catch up. You're just faster than they are. The problem with that is that some people are really, really benefiting from these. Like, I got letters from 4 different apprentices because of level 1 and how profound that was for them. So I'm stuck in this place where I do think it's really important, and I do think it's actually teaching you guys a lot about how to handle less than ideal situations when everybody isn't doing what you want, because you're going to come into contact with that. The more business you do and the more people you're with, and you're going to deal with parents that aren't putting in orders, and you're going to deal with locations not honoring agreements and stuff like that, and you're going to have to find the workaround in order to continue advancing. So this is part of that, and I'm going to keep beating it on you, and I haven't even had the personal discussion to ask you if you want to master, but I think that you should. I think that anybody that comes into my cohort and says, oh my God, what did I get myself into, is probably looking for your cohort. And I can't help them. And you would probably be really, really happy in your cohort as an apprentice.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And there are thousands of apprentices in the antechamber that are not going to fit. Gretchen and I were having this conversation over the last couple of days where she was trying to find her balance and where her home should be for her personal growth. So because I think you should master, I'm actually less inclined to help you and make exceptions, because this is going to be something that you're going to deal with and you already know who I'm talking about, is still sitting at level 2 and has been, even though they were one of the first people into the cohort, and there's that balance between, are they working at their own pace or are they not working? Are they moving, and learning their way, or are they dead weight for the rest of the group? And how do you handle that? Because I feel both ways about it. I selected each one of you, even the people in Miss Aniela's group and Natalie's group. I went and said, I will take all of them on, because I'd been hanging out in the group for weeks beforehand, watching them work and getting to know who they were and being a fly on the wall. I know exactly how talented and how much potential every single one of you has. That's why I didn't let them split you up.
I have to leave? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to leave for a school pickup in an hour. So sorry to interrupt the conversation, because this is great. But if we're going to do the critique, now would be a great opportunity.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Are you available later today at all, or tomorrow, or is this pretty much your only?
This is the last day of term 3 for Australian school holidays start, and my son is going to New Caledonia. So over the next 3 days, I have to prepare him to leave overseas, and then I'll have my other child at home full time. So it becomes, school holidays is never a good time to get an hour free. So this would be the ideal opportunity for me, and then I won't be holding other people back in my cohort, because I'll be free. I'm ready to go forward. I'm ready to, because it's all been processing in my mind while I'm been weighing up whether to commit fully or not, right? I've been paying attention, but I'm here, I'm committed, I'm ready, and if you have time to do the critique, let's do it, right?
Okay, why don't you sign off and go put your images together, and give me 10 minutes, and then I'll sign on with you, okay?
Okay, so you're going to start the Hangout, right?
Yeah, I will start it because it's got to be recorded on my channel.
Okay. Bye. See you guys.
And we'll be
Bye.
watching.
All right. See you. Get out of here.
Okay, so this is definitely something that I want to keep talking about because it's obviously a big enough issue that it's come up a couple of times, and it is. And again, it's one of those things that you guys are my first cohort, so I'm learning with you as we go as to what's working and what's not. So all the things that I fuck up with you, I'm going to fix with the next group, and they will be very thankful. So what else?
Just, are you going to have time to talk with me tomorrow at all after 12:30 Eastern Standard Time?
Nope, you got me right now. This is my only time until next week.
Okay, so I got approached by Sandra Locasto and several other people who are in the Arcanum. Apparently we all live within a few miles of Asheville, and they started some sort of meeting group, like a meetup, for us all to get together and talk about the Arcanum and do work. And I mean, at first I joined the group because I thought it was like we all get together and we all shoot images and work on our Arcanum projects together. And listening to the conversations going back and forth, I'm not sure what it is because it doesn't sound like it's that anymore, and I wanted some advice on how to approach it. That was the first thing. And then the second thing is I am submitting to the State of the Art of the State exhibition at the Cameron Art Museum in Wilmington tomorrow, which is where I was driving to, and I didn't know if that exhibition, which runs through February, counts for the exhibition you wanted me to do, or if the one that I'm putting on myself in November is the one that you wanted me to do, because it's me putting it on versus a museum putting on a show that I'm a part of.
Are you feeling personally fulfilled by it?
About the museum one? I'm personally fulfilled by both, but in different ways.
Then do both.
Okay. So that's simple. But I don't know how to approach this other thing. And
I don't know what this other thing is. Nobody has talked to me about it. And as far as Sandra goes, she has not been in the group, and I don't know what's going on with her. I know that I reached out to her and said that I hadn't seen her in a while, and she said she had some things going on, but she's been at the same level for over a month now, and she is not participating. Whatever they're doing in the Arcanum is not Arcanum official or related, and you guys are totally welcome to hook up outside. Like, that's part of it, is that you guys get to connect and communicate with each other, and I love that you guys are getting together, but whatever this is, it's not Arcanum related. It's you guys hanging out. I don't know how you would get together to work on levels together unless maybe like you were shooting each other for level 7.
Well, I don't know, because like I said, it started out with me being messaged by one person who was like, hey, we're all in the Arcanum, and now it's turned into like they've got a room. And
cohorts, or
I think so, yeah.
Well, if they're not in ours, they're in different ones.
Yeah, I know Sandra's in ours because the person who contacted me got my information from Sandra, but there's Susanna Houston and Chris Allen, Thomas Crook, Bonnie Allen, and a Robert M. Young.
I don't know who any of them are. They're obviously in other cohorts. And that's totally cool. Like, ideally, when you guys cross level 10 into an actual sphere, because these are the foundation levels, that's when we start opening up the doors for you guys to connect with each other on a more global scale. But I don't know what it is, so I can't give you any advice on it. Like, you guys are definitely welcome to like hook up with other apprentice members, and you'll find each other through social media as we're posting and sharing, and then as you move forward with it, you'll get access to even more, and whatever you guys want to do is cool. I don't know how you would level up, and I'll drop Sandra a message because she can do lots of leveling up all by herself by actually being in the community, which will be helpful.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, if it sounds like something good and you want to do it and hook up with the other apprentice members, go for it. It doesn't sound like you feel that way at all, so don't do it. Trust your instincts.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm iffy on it. I think I'll go to the first one just to see what it is and.
Now, if you're ever iffy on anything, trust your instincts. There's always a reason why. There's always a reason why. And if you don't feel like right now you need that connection to other people to continue your growth in the Arcanum and it's Arcanum related, then you may not need that right now. You know, there's a specific reason, which again will become clear when you get to that point. You know, you unlock the doors as you walk through them. There's a very, very good reason why we don't open the doors to all the other cohorts until level 10. And when you cross level 10, you will know why. So go do some work in the community and cross level 10, and then we'll open it up because there's all kinds of cool things coming. We just did the Masters Hangout and they were talking about it. So, but yeah, you know, connect, grow, be with anybody that is helping your spirit and helping your artistry and helping your business. And if it's not good, don't do it. But just know anything the apprentices are doing together or apart is not, it's not Arcanum sanctified, even if it's Arcanum related. We don't know, none of the masters know anything that any of the apprentices are doing to hook up, so that's like a personal thing outside.
Okay.
Which is totally cool. I'm all about it.
Thank you.
All right, last minute things. Questions, comments, concerns? No?
Good luck in the next 10 minutes.
All right. I'm gonna go hook Gretchen up then and do hers, and that's totally her fault for not jumping on when she was supposed to, which is totally different than the fact that I was 30 minutes late for race. So, so I'm gonna let you guys go, and then if you guys want to hop back on after hers, I can hop on for another 20 or 30 minutes. Okay? Sound good?
All good.
Okay, you guys can hop in the convergence chat and just hang out together offline. I'm going to stop the broadcast so I can go hop on and do her critique.